Okay, everyone, welcome back to Last Take. Big weekend in football. We also got some baseball news, some NBA stuff that nobody cares about because it's not the conference finals. But before we start, just make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Trying to think what else. Call your mom if you haven't talked to her in a little bit. That's just not related to YouTube, just important.
If you had
Um,
to power rank those four things, calling your mom, liking, commenting, and subscribing, I would probably put subscribing number one.
Number one,
Call your mom,
liking,
put it
liking,
two.
no, liking number two. No.
Okay.
Call your
Um,
mom number three, comment number four.
yeah. Okay. I can get behind that.
You could put that in any order though. I think it's a tough list to really gather together.
I would just say do all of them. You could probably knock them all out within 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how talkative your mom is or how bad your computer skills are.
Yeah, yeah. Nick, also a big question that all the viewers are wondering: how was your men's league game?
It was great. So my legs were on fire. Like I've been jogging a couple miles a day for like a month or two now. So I was like, all right, like I'm in shape. Like I've been moving around. I'll be all right. Nothing like basketball shape. Literally like a minute and a half into the game, legs burning, feel like I'm breathing in fire. Just so not similar. But it's like a weird league. It's 4v4 and you play two 18-minute games against the same team. So it's essentially just like splitting one game into two. So we went 1-1. But Hard Knocks on that'll be coming out soon.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure the film crew was really into that.
Yeah, it's a limited film crew in the pandemic. So
So moving on to some real games, some things that actually happened outside of men's league. The big the big one, and I think the game that has the most to break down was the Packers and the Bucs. I think a lot of people had the Packers going into this game. The Bucs kind of felt like, oh, they're hot, so let's ride their coattails, see what they can do. But I think a lot of teams felt like a lot of fans felt like the Packers were the better team. But the Bucs come out victorious, 31-26. And I think this is going to kind of become known as the Matt LaFleur game. There was a lot of bad calls in this game. Clearly, by the board up above, field goals are bad. I was going to say that was the most notorious one was Aaron Rodgers. First of all, not running it when I think that was a clear play. He should have ran it. He had a lot of yardage in front of him. He winds up throwing to Devontae Adams, who's essentially in double coverage. And then on fourth down, Matt LaFleur kicks the ball, gives the ball back to Tom Brady, down 5 with 2 minutes left, and I guess 4 timeouts technically with the 2-minute warning. And the Packers wind up losing the game. So Nick, what are your thoughts?
So I'm with you. I really thought the Packers were going to win. I thought they were probably going to win by a touchdown. It just seemed like the year Aaron Rodgers was having and that team, the way they were rolling, I thought they were going to beat the Buccaneers easily. Shows how stupid I am. It's like the 10th year in a row. How many times are we going to doubt Tom Brady in a big game? New team, 43 years old, pandemic season, doesn't matter. He's going to a Super Bowl.
So I'll say, how many times are we going to doubt Tom Brady? Yes, that exists. But how many times are we going to ride the coattails of Aaron Rodgers and lose? I feel like we have been doing this for years where it's like, oh, Aaron Rodgers, he's the greatest. He's the most talented quarterback. And then he doesn't win. He makes it to the NFC Championship. We were looking at the stats the other day. He's always in the NFC Championship. He's always had a good enough team to be in that situation. And he's been to one Super Bowl. He won that Super Bowl. Good for him. But how many times have we been like, oh, this is the Packers year. Oh, they're the favorite coming out of the NFC by default. And he winds up losing in the NFC Championship or in the NFC divisional round. So, sorry to interrupt you, but I just feel like it's weird. It's the complete opposite with Tom Brady as opposed to Aaron Rodgers.
You're 100% right. I think people are going to look back at Aaron Rodgers' career, and obviously who knows how much more he has left in him. But assuming he doesn't win, another conference championship and that one Super Bowl was it, I think that's absolved him the one ring of the can he get it done, because obviously you can't have a debate that a guy can't win the big one when he literally has won the big one. But people are going to look back on his career at those Packers teams that, like you said, reached the conference championship. And the fact that he's only been to one Super Bowl and Tom Brady's been to 10, Like, and I get that Tom Brady had the greatest coach of all time in his corner for 9 of those 10 Super Bowls. I get it, but like, it's just it's really crazy to me. I don't know how he's only made one Super Bowl. I mean, they were 15-1 the year the Giants knocked them out, and in the divisional round. That's crazy. Like, he's had so many good teams, and I thought that this was the Packers' year to at least get there, if not win the whole thing. But it was really just. So I need to stop doubting Tom Brady. If Tom Brady could be 56 playing in a conference championship, and I'll bet on him at this point. I'm done. I'm done doubting Tom Brady in big games. I'm done, except for the Super Bowl this year.
Except Chiefs year, yeah.
Yeah, Chiefs.
No, but I feel like in all the years that we've doubted, or we've rode the coattails of Rodgers, he's never plays bad. And that's what I feel like people I might get mixed up in, like what I just said. He never plays bad. He played a good game. It's just that he doesn't do enough. He doesn't warrant himself as beating the GOAT. He doesn't do enough. He doesn't run the ball when he needs to. He doesn't make the big throws, or someone drops it for him, or whatever it is. He's not doing enough to will his team to win. And I think that yesterday was a good example of it. He wasn't bad, or Sunday. He wasn't bad by any means. But he didn't do enough. They had Tom Brady turned the ball over 3 times, I think, in the second half, or 3 times total. I'm sorry, yeah, he had 3 interceptions, so 2 times in the second half. Or no, actually, yeah, I forget what it was. I think it was 3 picks in the second half.
3 picks in the second.
Yeah, 3 picks in the second half, right? Yeah, I had it right. Yeah, so 3 picks in the second half, and Aaron Rodgers couldn't turn that around. They had 2 picks when they were actually were within a score, and they couldn't get a first down. So I feel like if you're Aaron Rodgers, if you're in this GOAT conversation, if you see yourself in this highly regarded talent level, like where you're arguably the most talented quarterback that's ever existed, you gotta take advantage of that, and that's the time to do it. And he failed, and not a lot of it is on Matt LaFleur. Aaron Rodgers did say he thought that he was in 4-down territory on the goal line, and that's the reason why he decided not to run it. But dude, make a play. Don't be thinking that far ahead. The ball's right in front of you. The goal line's right in front of you. Go for it.
I think he did have a bad game. I know he didn't have any. I'm sure his stat line looks fine. I know he didn't have any back-breaking interceptions. Like, I know Brady threw 3 picks in the second half, and that should be a bigger story than it is. But if you're as great as you are and you're Aaron Rodgers, you have to take advantage. Like, I know there's a lot to point to. We'll get to the field goal decision in a second, which was mind-numbing. The Scotty Miller touchdown, where I don't know how, if you're king, you let him get behind you in that scenario, where literally you can give up a 20-yard chunk gain, and that's fine at that point. It made absolutely no sense to me how the Bucs got 7 there. Yeah. But Aaron Rodgers, come on, dude. Like I said, Tom Brady threw 3 picks in the second half. You can't ask for more than that out of your defense, turn the ball over 3 times, and you get 6 points out of that. That 3rd down play, he's got a clear touchdown. I think he can walk it, and he tries to throw it and force it in. How many times was he going to throw the ball to the back of the end zone because Devontae Adams wasn't open? He was just not good. And he wasn't horrific. He wasn't Jameis Winston or anything out there, but he's terrible. He was just not Aaron Rodgers, and he wasn't even close to it. So I don't know. Obviously, he's far from the only reason they lost, but this game, to me, if you really look into it, I think it's on Aaron Rodgers. He couldn't get it done in crunch time.
Yeah, and I have a lot of problems. I think I do it a little bit with Pete Carroll and the Seahawks, but I don't like when people blame the entire game on one decision made by the coach. And I think that's kind of what people were doing with LaFleur. It's going to be, like I said at the beginning, it's going to become known as a LaFleur game because of that specific decision. And he did make some other bad ones throughout the game. I won't say that. But at the end of the day, the players got to play the game. The coaches can execute a game plan or strategize a game plan, but the players got to execute. And I don't think Rodgers, and granted the whole Packers, whether it was the defense, like you said, with King letting up, 31 points, and the Packers defense only putting up 26 when you got 3 turnovers on Tom Brady. So I agree. I think it's looking like LaFleur, it's bad optics for him, but it comes down to the players.
That decision too, I tweeted it out, and I got a lot of Pete Carroll not handing the ball to Marshawn Lynch responses. And I thought it through. I think the field goal decision is worse. Like there's an argument to be made to defend. Like I don't even think you even say, right, not a bad play call, bad execution.
Exactly.
I think this was just a terrible decision. Like there was no world where this makes sense. You're cutting a touchdown deficit, and yeah, you need the 2-point conversion to a touchdown deficit. So why would you not, with one of the best quarterbacks in the league, yeah, he's been off this game, give him a chance to tie the game right there. If you don't get the touchdown, then they're pinned deep for you to, your defense to get a stop. If you get the touchdown and don't get the 2, then you only need a stop and a field goal. They went from needing a stop and a touchdown to needing a stop and a touchdown. Like it made I still don't understand the reasoning. Like, did you hear did he say anything when he was interviewed that made sense? Because I genuinely I thought Anthony Lynn calling a run play this year after Herbert completed that Hail Mary to get to the goal line with 10 seconds left in the game, down 10. I thought him calling a run play there was the stupidest call I've seen all year. This trumps it, just given where it was in the game and the situation and how they were actually able to tie it on that possession if they would have just went for it. This is the single stupidest coaching decision I've seen in the history of football.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur made a decision that we've all been thinking about for years, where we doubt Tom Brady, where he probably thought in some world he was going to be able to stop Tom Brady and get him to go 3 and out, or, God willing, with the 2-minute warning acting as a 4th timeout, maybe they get 1 first down and you get 40 seconds left.
Mm-hmm.
He did what we had been doing for years, and I guess you can't blame him. But as not a fan, you should have realized that Tom Brady's on the other side. He's gonna get a first down. I don't know what really went through his mind. You brought up the Pete Carroll play. God damn it. But the logic behind that was relatively sound. Yes, the obvious thing to do was run the ball, but the idea was that, okay, let me go against the obvious and see if I can sneak one in on first down. That's the logic of it. Executed horribly, still probably the wrong play call. There was nothing. He didn't give him a chance to execute something. It's like you threw the ball already 15 times to Devontae Adams in the end zone. You tried 3 times one time, and then another time he actually scored. What's one more time? Run your best play with him. Just go for it. Go from your best quarterback, obviously, to your best receiver. Give it a chance. And if you don't score, just like you said, you'll pin them deep, and you still have your 4 timeouts. So just a terrible decision. But again, I don't think it was all on the floor. That was just a notably horrible decision. They lost as a unit. They really lost that game as a unit.
I literally think he just hit the wrong button in Madden and didn't have any timeouts left to change it.
He's like, oh, fuck, I hit X.
It's the worst.
Something that was also really interesting about it, and it's going past the game, was the post-game press conference. Aaron Rodgers was essentially saying that he doesn't know his future in Green Bay. He doesn't know about other players' futures in Green Bay. And it kind of left this eerie feeling. He walked it back a little bit today where he's like, I don't see any circumstance where I'm not in Green Bay next year. It would be a surprise to me. But I don't know if it was just disgruntlement after a really bad playoff loss, or if he actually is in the back of his mind thinking about requesting a trade.
I don't realistically think he's leaving. I just think this is his personality to just whine when things don't go his way. It's the same thing. It's the same thing when they drafted Jordan Love. Is it frustrating that they didn't go all in this year and draft him a receiver with that pick? Yes, I get it. I think everyone universally is in agreement that Jordan Love was a stupid pick by the Packers. But dude, come on, just sack up. And I'm sure he has every right to be upset at LaFleur for that decision. But at the same time, like we just said, you had more than enough chances to take the lead in that game. It was on you. It wasn't like it was this all-time shootout and he threw 5 touchdowns and Brady threw 5 touchdowns and then LaFleur decided to not give him a chance at the end. Rodgers played a horrible game. And to be fair, here's the one, it's not a defense for it. It's still a really stupid decision. But Rodgers was horrible at the goal line. Maybe if you weren't terrible and you punched in one of the, I don't know how many chances he had down there, you wouldn't be in a situation where you're down 8 with 2 minutes left. So listen, it was a stupid decision, but Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers should both be beating themselves up after that game. It's not on either one of them. It's on both of them, as well as that defense, because even though they got the 3 turnovers in the second half, the hole they dug at the end of the first half was just too much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's on the Packers as a whole. I feel like when it's in the playoffs, it's like, oh, maybe like one team just won. They just whoever had the ball last. No, the Packers beat themselves that game. I think they had every opportunity to win it.
100%.
But speaking, I guess, in positive for the Bucs, Brady in the first half looked pretty good. He looked really good, actually. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, they showed up. Scotty Miller showed up. So I mean, everyone was really high on the Packers, but I mean, the Bucs showed up. They played a good game. Defense was pretty much what it was and has been all year. Brady had a bad second half, but past that, he did enough to get it done. He got the first downs when he needed to. He got lucky with an absolute huck up to Scotty Miller at the end, but that's how you win games. You take chances.
How about the Bucs becoming the first team to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium?
That's awesome. I'll always say, and I hate to keep going back to the Seahawks, but they won their Super Bowl at MetLife, and that would have been so cool for me as a Seahawks fan to just pretty much drive 30 minutes and watch your team win the Super Bowl. I think that's an opportunity that no one really ever gets to have. I mean, like even when the Giants won, they weren't at MetLife, so getting that chance for all those Tampa fans to potentially make it to that game and just kind of have that vibe around the city is just unreal.
That's the thing that sucks, though. I hate that it happened in a pandemic year because there are going to be a decent amount of fans there, like 22,000, I think, and it's like
10,000 are for essential workers, right?
7,500 or so, or like for like the healthcare workers. So like of those like 15,000 tickets or whatever's left, I gotta imagine they're pretty impossible to get your hands on, even more so than a normal Super Bowl year. So of course, like Super Bowl's been going on for 55 years. It wasn't the Saints playing at home in the Superdome. It wasn't the Cowboys playing at home. Even like the Giants or the Jets at MetLife. Of course, it's the Bucs in a pandemic year, which is like the most boring iteration of something that is really cool on the surface.
Yeah, and of course it's Brady again. Everyone's probably just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. No.
We'll come back to that when Jameis is a quarterback again in Tampa. Once Brady retires, Jameis is coming back. That's the bold prediction.
So in like 10 years.
Yeah. Moving on to the next game. Chiefs win 38-24 over the Bills. I feel like a lot of people, including me, thought this was the Bills' year. I was wrong again. 0-2 on the weekend. Also knocked me out of my playoff pool. So just a tough weekend in terms of betting. But in terms of the actual game itself, are the Chiefs going to pull just like an NBA thing on us for the rest of the year where they're just not going to care or try just until it's like the AFC Championship? Because that's what it seems like, that they don't really care about the regular season, just like the NBA. And then when it comes to literally the time where it's like, all right, now we got to start trying to get into the Super Bowl, they turn it on. No, I haven't seen these Chiefs, the ones that just played, all year. And they just demolished, are arguably the better team, but clearly the second best team in the AFC, made them look stupid.
I literally think they spot other teams' points. There's no other explanation for how they so consistently start slow and then just absolutely turn it on. I mean, this game was boring. I like the Chiefs. I tweeted out, I kind of forgot Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes for a second because I was with you. I was drinking the Bills Kool-Aid. It was awesome to see Buffalo, the season they had, how great they were. And I agree with you. I think you can argue that the Bills are the more complete team just because I think that their offense was good this year, but it was firing on all cylinders, and their defense was good. But there's just no answer for Patrick Mahomes when he's on. And I think people got a little bit caught up in the fact that, maybe he had a concussion. Maybe there would be some kind of Super Bowl hangover to a degree against a team as good as the Bills. I think I said last week they haven't played a team as good as the Bills in any of their playoff runs, and they just demolished them. So Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. It's not close, and I think people got a reminder of that on Sunday.
Yeah. So I wish there was more to say about this game as much as there was the Packers-Bucs one, but there simply isn't. The Chiefs they showed up. I know people. I think people have been waiting all year for like the real Chiefs to kind of come out, and they did it. And I think it's going to carry over to the Super Bowl. I'll give my pick now because I kind of want to transition to that. What we think is going to go on with the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's still 2 weeks away. A lot could still happen, but I mean, I don't see the Bucs beating the Chiefs, especially how they came out against the Bills. I think they're ready to play their best football.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just gave the speech about how I won't go against Tom Brady in big games anymore. But I've also been saying pretty much all year that I'll believe someone beats the Chiefs when I see it. So I kind of came off that take last week in favor of Bills Mafia. I'm going to go back to my original take. I don't see anyone beating the Chiefs until I actually see it. So if you think about it, if the Buccaneers play the exact same game they played on Sunday against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, they're going to get demolished. So
yeah,
we'll see. I don't know. I think the Chiefs win, but again, Tom Brady, you never know.
You have like the perfect take right there. You have two audios, one being like a take from a while ago, one being a take from more recently, where no matter what happens, you're set up for like a completely logical win or loss.
Yeah, that's all this show is.
You can't against Tom Brady, but you can't, no one's going to beat the Chiefs until you see it. You have that perfect like loophole right there.
I'm like Coward. I'll just record myself saying the opposite sides of the same take, and then whenever one of them happens, that's the one I'll play.
Yeah, smart.
As long as we never get popular enough that Funhouse is covering our show, then I'm fine.
Oh yeah, if anyone ever plays back anything, they're just gonna be like, "You were wrong here, 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 and here."
Oh, dude, yeah, I'm gonna be so fucked.
Oh yeah, we're done. So that's the Super Bowl. That's the NFL. Not too much happening. No, I'm not gonna watch the Pro Bowl.
Is it happening, the Pro Bowl?
Actually, yeah, wait, that was the first thing in my mind. There's definitely no Pro Bowl.
There's no Pro Bowl. Yeah, the Pro Bowl is the worst one regardless, even when it does happen. But
I just want to put it out there. If there was a Pro Bowl this year, I would not be watching it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you got that out there. I refuse to watch the Pro Bowl that's not happening. I'm actually a little bit mad we acknowledged it.
Yeah. All right.
We'll cut this out.
We'll cut this out, but we're not going to cut it out. So just that the Pro Bowl sucks.
The Pro Bowl.
If we just use that, the Pro Bowl sucks, that's fine.
Tweet us 5 things you'd rather watch than the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
Best response gets in next week's show.
Unless we forget.
Maybe. Unless no one does it. Or if it's inappropriate. We're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not. Come on. Moving on to the NBA. Nobody cares. We got LeBron is good. We've got whoever is first place in the Eastern Conference probably isn't actually going to make it to the NBA Finals, and Harden scores a lot. So that's that. Nobody cares. Moving on from
the NBA sucks.
NBA sucks until the finals. All right. So moving on to the MLB. Actually, a lot of Yankees news. Some actual free agency signings coming up. That just not coming up. That just happened. And I guess potentially coming up with Trevor Bauer potentially / not potentially getting a record deal from the Mets, TBD from Bob Nightingale. But we'll move on to the people who have signed / got traded. First, Jameson Taillon. Nick, what are your first thoughts?
So this was a guy that I didn't know a ton about coming into the offseason. He's been a popular name on Yankees Twitter. A lot of people are high on him. After looking into him, how can you not love it? I mean, you gave up the number 15 prospect in the Yankee system, who's still a couple years away, Miguel Yajur, and literally no one else I've heard of, all lower level guys, which are basically just lottery tickets. To get a starting pitcher that's making $2 million this year. He had a great 2017. The 2 Tommy John surgeries scares you, but I was watching Yankees Hot Stove last night. Jack Curry was talking to him, and he was saying how he didn't really feel 100% himself after the first Tommy John, and now this is the first time in years where he's really felt like he's excited to throw. His bullpens aren't rehab geared. They're more trying to get into game action. So it's exciting. I mean, he's a big guy. Garrett Cole had glowing reviews of him. Number 2 pick in the draft. He's got a ton of ability, and I think if you look at what he's been through, beating, Tommy John twice, beating cancer, he got hit in the head with a line drive during one of his starts and stayed in. So he's got that perfect bulldog New York mentality. And I think, we fall into the trap of, if guys struggle early on, say they can't handle New York. I really don't want to hear that bullshit about this guy. He's handled a lot tougher things than drunk fans in the Yankee Stadium bleachers. So mentality wise, I'm all in on this guy. Ability wise, I'm all in. Just gotta hope the arm holds up okay, but I really like it a lot.
Yeah, Nick, you bring up the one thing that I'm most excited for, and it's like that grit factor. So now I really think that the Yankees have, in terms of depth, the perfect rotation. It just has to work out. And here's why. You have your ace, Garrett Cole. You have your number two, your veteran, in Corey Kluber, who really understands pitching, in addition to Garrett Cole already knowing a lot about the art of pitching. You have your youngsters in Garcia, in Montgomery, if you want to consider him, in Schmidt, and all the guys past that. And if you want to include King in that too. And then you have Jameson Taillon, and he's got this grit factor that I think when the Yankees were really exciting in 2017 and when they had that next man up mentality in 2018, or was it? No, I'm sorry, 2019, right?
2019
when they had all those injuries. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2017 was the year when the young core. 2019 was the year with all the injuries. And I think that they were missing last year that factor of where it's like, we really want this. And, someone who is like kind of pushing them to be better than themselves. And the quote that Garrett Cole said that I really like is, I told the Yankees, if you're going to bet on somebody, if you're going to go to battle with someone, that Jameson is the guy you want next to you. He is not phased. He always makes people around him better. He's one of the most resilient people I've ever known. That's the one thing that I thought this rotation was missing, was like that grit factor. That someone who's going to go out there, not going to throw you an amazing complete game. He has that ability, and that's great. But he's going to give you like a gritty 7 innings. Like, that start where you leave and it's like, wow, that guy just worked his ass off. Go 7 innings, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts. Like, it's not a crazy stat line, but you saw like the heart in that guy. And I think that's what they were missing. They had Cole, they got the ace. Kluber's a great, smart pitcher. They got the youngsters, and now they have their grit factor in Taillon. And, outside of ability, I think the character in that pitching rotation and in the bullpen too, now all kind of convoluted together, is just like perfect. So I'm really excited about that signing, and I think that Taillon's going to be really good.
Yeah, and I think it's an underrated thing too. Like you just said, just having mentality, especially in your pitchers. Like Garrett Cole, number one, he's just like a fuck you, give me the ball kind of guy. I think Kluber, even though he's older now, has the same kind of mentality. Taillon, we got into his grit. Deivi Garcia, for a 21-year-old, 22-year-old, has some amazing presence on the mound. We saw Jordan Montgomery come up big last year. So is the Yankees rotation the best you've ever seen on paper in terms of what they've done the last year or two? No, there's a lot of question marks, but I think they have a lot of guys who have the right mentality to pitch in New York. And there's no more Jay Happ sulking around. There's no more, there's no more Sonny Gray whining about how Larry Rothschild messed them up. Like, none of that bullshit. They have guys who are tough now, and I know that that's not something you can quantify, but I think over the course of an 162-game season, it's something that you need. So I'm really excited for that.
And when you're talking about upside and all these guys, it's like, yes, like talent-wise, it's there. But how do you bring that out of them? How do you get them to achieve and be their best? That's how you do it. You have an ace that shows them how to do it. You have Kluber and someone that teaches them how to do it, and Cole can do that too. And you have Taillon as someone that shows them how to like really tough out a start when it's not, I don't know if he's going to pitch bad. I'm not saying that, but like someone who's really tough, So I think that the combination of all those three veterans is really going to get that upside out of the younger guys and as an overall make the whole rotation a lot better. And we're all saying, oh, there's low risk, high reward. This is how you get that high reward out of everybody. So I'm super excited about the Taillon signing. I think it's really good.
Yep.
But sad news, I guess, leaving the rotation is Masahiro Tanaka is probably done with the Yankees.
Yeah, we all saw it coming, especially if they're going to try and stay under 210, which with the Adam Ottavino trade looks imminent. Looks like, that was a clear salary don't move, the dictionary definition of it. So clearly they're on a strict budget this offseason. And Tanaka, the rumors were he was asking for anywhere between 15 and 20 million. So it is sad. I mean, I love Tank. he wasn't necessarily the pitcher we signed him to be. Before the elbow issue in his rookie year, he was this electric guy throwing upper 90s, and he wasn't that. But he reinvented himself. He took the mound every fifth day. He never really missed more than a handful of starts every year. I think 24 was the lowest he had after the first year when he only made 20 due to the injury. But this was a guy that was supposed to get Tommy John surgery, stayed on the mound, and prior to 2020 was masterful in the playoffs. Really turned in 2017 against the Indians, backs on the wall. Pitched great 2 games in the Houston series that year. Pitched another great game in Boston the following year, against the Astros the following year. He just had the perfect. You want to talk about mentality? This guy, when the moment was biggest, he stepped up. So I'm gonna miss him. It makes sense. I like the direction the Yankees took with their rotation, but man, I'm gonna miss Masahiro Tanaka. He's a great Yankee, and as far as guys who have been here and not won a ring, where they'll end up in Yankee lore, Tanaka's right up there with the best of them.
Yeah. He's gonna be great at Old Timers Day. You can just tell when he comes back in like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't have a whole Tanaka, I guess, eulogy for it, but I mean, it is sad to see him go because he was always a model of consistency and someone who was just, just a good pitcher. Great. Someone who's good in the playoffs is always somebody that you'll miss. So moving on to people who did sign, we just got news that Marcus Semien signed with the Jays, and JT Realmuto. Why can I say this? JT Realmuto. JT Realmuto signed back with the Phillies for 5 years, $115 million. Yeesh.
Where do you want to start?
Let's start with Realmuto, so I can stop having to try to say his name.
Okay. So in the case of JT, yeah, that's a scary contract for a catcher on the wrong side of 30. That being said, it was a move the Phillies absolutely had to make. A lot of people were doubting it. I know. I don't even think we entertained the Phillies as an option when we did our free agency show a couple weeks ago.
They said they were bankrupt. Yeah. They're like,
because they were crying poor. There was talk they were going to trade Zach Wheeler to free up. So maybe there's a salary dump on the way now that they've locked up Realmuto. I don't know. But regardless, it was a move they had to make because you can't justify trading Sixto Sanchez for 2 years of Realmuto and missing the playoffs in both those years. So it's gonna be tough. I think the Phillies, if you look at them, they've got Bryce Harper, they've got Aaron Nola, they just signed Wheeler. They're a team that kind of has to go for it. Even though if you look at the NL East, I don't think anyone is even remotely concerned with the Phillies. I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they ended up being a wild card team, but I think the Braves and Mets are both significantly better than them. And then what the Nationals did this offseason, I think they're head and shoulders above them too. So it's a weird spot if you're the Phillies where they had to make the move, but at the same time, no one's looking at that and being like, all right, Phillies, you're back. Everyone's like, all right, well, congrats on not being complete idiots. You're just kind of idiots now.
Yeah, the Phillies are the worst going for it team I've ever seen. It reminds you of do you remember the night 2016 election where it was like, come on, Gary, it's a race.
Yeah, it's a race.
That's what I feel like with the Phillies. It's like, I guess, the Mets and the Braves and the Nationals up there, and then it's just like the Phillies are just way down. Like, come on, Phillies, it's a race. It's just really upsetting that they spend all this money just to probably come in third or fourth. But I mean, I guess it's a tough division. I don't know. I just find it so funny that the Philly, when they signed Bryce Harper, they're like, we're going all in. We've got all the things, and they just suck. It feels like a Mets thing to do.
I'm trying to think of the last time a team went for it with all these big money moves and nothing panned out. I'm thinking the 2011, 2012 era Red Sox when they had Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, and that team just flopped.
I mean, you could argue most of the years for the Dodgers. They really only have won once in this sort of mini dynasty that they have, where they've won the NL West for the past 200 years, and they're just spending ridiculous amounts of money on guys, and they just don't win. But I mean, they've always been successful, so I guess it's a little different than the Phillies.
You know who it's honestly similar to is the mid 2010s Yankees when they went on that spending spree with Tanaka, who panned out, but they bring in Ellsbury, Beltran, and McCann, and they ended up finishing, I think, fourth in the division that year because the Orioles and Blue Jays were good and the Red Sox were coming off a World Series. So I love when teams make all these big money moves to go all in, and they're just not even close.
Yeah, and it's like the guy that you just spent like $27 million on just batted 220.
Yeah.
Like what? you yeah, so I mean, I guess good for the Phillies. They got their guy back. It makes the Mets look a lot better. I said this earlier. That makes the Mets look a lot better for their McCann signing. They got, I mean, there's a gap between most of the catchers and Real Muto, but McCann is pretty good. You could argue he's top probably 8 catchers in the league. You know, maybe if not a little better. And they got him for $10 million a year, and the Phillies had to spend 20 plus. So I think at the end of the day, everyone got their guy. Phillies, I guess, found some extra money, lying around. I don't know where that came from. All of a sudden, oh my God, we're not broke anymore. That makes me so mad about owners. Where all of a sudden, oh no, we have no money. We can't sign anybody. We're not going to be able to sign Real Muto. 2 months later, all of a sudden, you're offering one of the biggest catcher contracts in history. But whatever, that's a conversation for another time. Seems like the Blue Jays are kind of going for it a little bit more with signing Semien to 1 year, $18 million. Nick, what do you think about that?
The Blue Jays are just desperate to sign people. And listen, I think it's a good move. It's 1 year. Semien, we've talked about him before. He has a really high ceiling. If you're getting 2019 Marcus Semien, he was an MVP candidate. He's a really good player. I don't know what their intention is for him. I guess maybe is he going to play third, or does Biggio play third, or he's going to play somewhere. I'm assuming not shortstop, because I would think Bo Bichette stays there since he's like a stud in his early 20s.
I could see them using him like how the Yankees intended on using LeMahieu.
Right.
Like when they first signed him. I think Vlad Guerrero Jr. is going to pretty much be their first baseman.
Yeah.
And then they'll just kind of move him around from second, shortstop, and third. I don't think he plays outfield. I've never heard that, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the Blue Jays are like, fuck it, just go out there.
Nah,
pitch too?
If he could play outfield, he would have played outfield for the A's. They're milking their guys for all they've got.
Yeah.
They would try and have less than 26 guys on the roster if they could.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It feels like they're going all in offensively. They do kind of feel like the baseball's version of the Rockets, where they're just like, fuck it, we're just going to score as many runs for the Rockets to score as many points as possible, and we'll figure out the defensive side of things later. So, I mean, we'll see how that worked out. It didn't work out for the Rockets, clearly, but who knows? Maybe Canada's got a different vibe.
It's literally the Mike D'Antoni, Steve Nash Suns approach to baseball, which is ironic now that they're with the Nets and they don't play defense either. But yeah, there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of like 14-10 Yankees Blue Jays games this year.
Yeah, looking forward to those.
They're going to be fun. Yeah,
Yankee special though.
Always
bet the Yankee special. So that's pretty much it in terms of stuff that happened this week. We are going to do a Hall of Fame video coming up soon. It was just announced earlier today that nobody made the Hall of Fame this year. I guess not surprising, but I guess also kind of surprising depending on where your take is on the steroids, guys. But that's coming up pretty soon. So I guess have a good week, guys. We are going to introduce a new segment. I love this. Last Take's music preview. One of the remaining free agents submitted to Last Take a music video that he wants the world to see. I hate this so much. I hate this, but I love this. Trevor Bauer's music video. I don't know. What was it called? I got to look at the stupid thing again. Oh my God.
I was only able to listen to like 20 seconds of this before I had to turn it off. It's like nails on a chalkboard, man.
I know. I forgot the name of it already. Wow. Diamond in the Rough.
Oh my God.
Diamond in the Rough. Oh my God. This is not so Slim Shady personified to the nth degree. It is ridiculous how bad this music video is. It should decrease his average annual value that he gets in the contract by about $300 million. He should now be paying teams to play baseball. It is ridiculous. It is probably the funniest thing that I have ever seen.
Back then was a diamond in the rough, baby, growing up invisible, my life was sure tough. I'm gold now because I shine in all I do, like a 24-karat diamond ring for your boo.
I have like 17 comparisons for it. It's like a knockoff Prestige worldwide. He's had one good pitching season. He has 2 bad music videos. So I'm all out on Trevor Bauer. I was never that in on him, but I am out.
Dude, has anyone had like a faster fall from grace than Trevor Bauer? Like he's single-handedly disproving the all publicity is good publicity. Because like if you think back to just a couple months ago in September when he had that great start against the Braves in the wild card series, he was the clear-cut Cy Young candidate, wins the Cy Young. Everyone's clamoring for him to come to their team. They love his YouTube videos. And then just the more and more he's out there, people are mad at him, like putting the hats on and like trolling teams and hinting at things that don't actually matter. Him and his agent correcting John Heyman every 2 seconds. They found some of his political views that a lot of Twitter was not too happy with from like 2016 with the MAGA stuff. And now this music video is just like, if he would have just signed with a team a couple weeks ago and not done all this shit and just made his YouTube videos, he could have still been this beloved player. And he has just fallen so quickly. It's unbelievable.
You know how like agents like when they like try to get like their clients like more money, they start leaking stuff to the press. It seems like there's like an anti like Rachel Luber right now, or anti Trevor Bauer, who is just leaking negative stuff to the press. It's probably the owners, honestly. Someone in whoever wants to sign Trevor Bauer is leaking stuff to the press so that his average annual value just goes down by like $5 million, because every day it's just like, oh my God, I don't want Trevor Bauer. I don't want Trevor Bauer. I don't want Trevor Bauer. Someone's got to take him now.
There was an obvious one the other day, like an obvious Rachel Luba leak. It was Yasiel Puig. It was It was Marlins, Royals, Yankees in on Yasiel Puig. It's like, come on. It's like, obviously you're not going to get much of a bidding war between the Kansas City Royals and the Miami Marlins. So like, we'll throw in the Yankees, who maybe fit Yasiel Puig worse than any other team in the entire league.
Unbelievable. You might as well just throw the Dodgers, and just like while you're at it, throw in like the Chiefs, the Knicks, the Nets. Everyone's in on Yasiel Puig.
If the Yankees sign Yasiel Puig, I will drink. What's like the smaller one than a gallon of milk? I'm not gonna do a gallon. What's like a quart? A quart of milk. Yeah. I'll drink a quart of
a liter
milk on this show if the Yankees sign Yasiel Puig. This offseason, not like any time in the future. Like I'm not if they like sign him in like 3 years or something.
I'll watch that.
If Yasiel Puig is a Yankee on opening day 2021, I will drink a quart of milk on this show.
Noted.
Just because.
just because fuck Rachel Luba.
It's just like come up with some. Give me something a little bit juicier. Throw out like Cubs or something. Like Yankees, it just makes no sense.
Honestly, if you're smart, you throw in the Angels. The Angels are going to overpay. It.
Angels or like
the Angels.
There are so many the Red Sox. Like there's teams where it's like they might not be in, but like I could believe it. The Yankees, everyone was just like the Yankees. Like no, they're not.
Yeah.
Like the Marlins and Royals read that and laughed because they were like, yeah, no chance.
Okay, we're paying him less now for this. Yeah.
No, the Marlins and Royals GMs probably both called each other up and mutually agreed to knock down their asking prices.
Yeah. All right, we won't go past $1 million if you won't. Deal. All right, yeah. So I mean, I guess we're on Yasiel Puig watch to see where he signs. Just in case Nick has to drink.
Probably it's the Royals or the Marlins. Like,
yeah, the guy thinks he's like Yasiel Puig also thinks he's like Craig Kimbrell or something, where he can wait until the middle of the season to sign. It's like, no, dude, everyone's gonna forget.
Yeah, no, people forget Craig Kimbrell's agent when he was a free agent said he was better than Mariano Rivera.
Right. Okay.
Like if you're gonna spew agent bullshit like it's your job to do, just make it a little believable. Like just a little bit believable.
We're not asking for much here as fans.
Minimal effort. That's all I want.
All right, guys, that's it for us. Make sure you tune in next week. And if you also hate Trevor Bauer's music videos, just please let us know. It's absolutely hilarious. It is just so funny.
It'd be a real shame if these music videos kept going viral on Twitter.
It would be a shame if also the Yankees used that as their walkout songs when they face Trevor Bauer. Damn shame. It would be a damn shame. I'll say it now.
It would be terrible. I really hope it does. Well, I'll cut this out. I don't even want to give anyone any ideas.
Yeah. But I mean, if it happens to make it into this week's episode, I mean, it does, you know. If it slips by, you know, if it happens.
Adobe's not perfect. I try and edit it as best I can. I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
What are you gonna do? All right. We'll see you guys next
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Peace.